Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore. Today, we will be dissecting
Grimcutty.
Let's cut into it. The scene opens to a mother checking on her sleeping son. When she leaves, the little boy gets out of bed and tries to open the door, which is locked. The boy then tries to open the window, where we get a close-up of his hands covered in band-aids. As he looks out the window, the camera pans to another open window. We then see the mom searching up information on her computer about the way the internet affects and harms children, where she finds something that clearly disturbs her.
The little boy climbs through the other open window, where he walks through the house as a gust of wind comes through the hallway. As the boy checks back outside, he recognizes a creepy creature who starts to advance towards the house. The boy then proceeds to the kitchen, where he climbs the cabinets to reach the knives. They have been hidden away on the top shelf. We hear a creak as the front door opens and the creature peeks his head around the corner. The little boy then barges into his mother's office and stabs her before the creature attacks him.
As we cut to a different scene, we hear a girl's voice in a whisper talking about how to turn stressful things into something better. We then see her recording herself for an ASMR video, running over multiple objects with a truck to de-stress. Suddenly the video pauses, and we see the same girl watching her own video, seemingly stressed out.
Because, that's how you deal with stress. Running over objects.
Yeah.
The mom calls the girl, Asha, to come downstairs, where her parents are taking photos with her brother, Kamran, for his band concert. The dad then tells the family to leave their phones at home. Asha then becomes upset, wondering why her father is still enforcing a no-phone policy, to which he responds that it's just for the night.
As the family is watching Kamran's performance, Asha and her friend get up and leave to go outside. As Asha talks to her friend, we find out that she dropped track, which her parents were not happy about. While they are away, we see the girl's parents discussing an online trend that made a kid stab his own mom, while everyone's phones begin to go off, making Asha's father worry. While outside, Asha and her friend are looking at her ASMR channel, where a girl named Cassidy commented on her post. During this interaction, Asha's dad comes outside to scold her about not committing to a phone-free outing. Then, they share a moment about living a full life.
Back at the house, Asha's parents are both searching through social media and get a notification with a picture of the creepy creature called Grimcutty, immediately making the parents worry for their children. In their worry, they have a small meeting with their kids discussing what Grimcutty is about, telling them it has caused kids to hurt themselves and their parents.
In her room, Asha sees multiple posts about Grimcutty from other kids. While her parents are in their room, they get a text from another parent that they found their kid cutting themselves, leading them to do more research on the creature. During their research, we see Grimcutty appear outside of the house. While Asha is in the kitchen watching ASMR videos and making toast, Grimcutty comes through the front door. In a panic, she screams and alerts her parents, who then call the cops.
When the cops show up, Asha describes what she saw. One cop shows her a picture of Grimcutty and tells the family they believe they've been getting calls about the creature all night. When the cops leave, Asha's father takes all of their electronics for the night and claims it's just a precaution.
The next morning, when Asha comes downstairs, the whole family is at the table with something called a detox box to keep their electronics until the end of the week while the Grimcutty incident blows over and cut their screen time in the meantime. Asha begins to freak out and tries to grab her phone back from her father when she sees Grimcutty under the table. She screams and runs to her room.
That's terrifying. Absolutely fucking terrifying.
I think it's kind of funny.
Later, Asha goes to Kamran and asks for his backup computer to do more research on Grimcutty, to which she finds nothing. Because of this, Asha decides to sneak downstairs and open the detox box with a knife, real stupid, in order to get her phone. As soon as she gets her phone, Asha gets a call from Cassidy, where they begin to discuss Grimcutty and what could be happening, planning to meet up at school the next day.
Asha runs to the bathroom with the knife when she hears her parents coming downstairs. They discover the detox box is open and begin to freak out. While looking for her, Asha's parents get increasingly worried. Hearing her parents again, Asha goes outside and then the garage. While Asha is hiding in the garage, Grimcutty appears behind the car and begins to chase her through the house.
Asha runs into the bathroom where Grimcutty finds her and cuts her with his own knife. Asha's parents hear her screams and find her on the bathroom floor with a giant gash in her arm. While Asha's mom bandages her arm, Asha tries to tell her parents that she didn't hurt herself because of Grimcutty and still wants to go to school the next day.
In the gym, the school holds an assembly to talk about what is going on with Grimcutty and social media to try and calm the tension. Not many kids went to school, though. That gym was empty.
Empty.
Cassidy passes a note to Asha, and they meet in the bathroom, where Cassidy tells Asha about her parents forcing her to put her phone in a detox box. Realizing a connection, they devise a plan to find and use a computer to do more research.
Cassidy tells Asha about this rich kid named Oliver who is hosting a party.
Dumb.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb.
Real dumb. Real dumb. Where they ask him to use his computer. While doing research, they find a mommy blogger website from a woman who posts about how technology and social media is bad for children. They also find that the woman posted information on a detox box and cutting screen time in the meantime. Cassidy then makes a connection from the website to the woman who got stabbed by her son and leaves Asha to do more research.
Meanwhile, Asha's parents realize she's not at school and go to look for her. Asha's mom finds a video of Asha at the party where kids are pretending to cut themselves for Grimcutty. Freaking out, her parents drive straight to Oliver's house.
I'm not gonna lie, that video's fucking stupid. Why would you even
pretend?
Why would you even pretend? Because it ended up on the effing news.
Like, people are actually getting hurt and you guys are
acting like it's bullshit.
Okay.
Asha is still doing research when she calls her brother to look up the address for the woman's house, whose website she found. As her parents almost arrive, Grimcutty shows up at the party and begins to chase Asha again. As he chases her, she cries and asks the kids around her if they can see the creature as well. However, they cannot.
When Asha's parents finally arrive, they find Asha in the hallway getting attacked by Grimcutty. But all they see is Asha cutting herself. When they find out Kamran is involved, they begin to worry about him instead and his use of technology, occurring the wrath of Grimcutty. When they arrive back home, they find Kamran on the floor, unconscious with a tie around his neck.
Both kids end up in the hospital, Asha for her cuts and Kamran for his suffocation. Realizing Kamran found the woman's address, she steals her parents' car keys and leaves. Before she can get out of the door, she finds Cassidy in a different hospital room, where she tells her how her parents freaked out about the video of them at the party. Asha then comes to realize that their parents' hysteria causes Grimcutty's attacks.
Asha's mom goes into the hospital room that her kids were in, where she finds the address of the mommy blogger on the computer and realizes that her keys are missing. Asha's father enters the room and asks if she found anything, to which she tells him nothing, lying to him about what she discovered.
Honestly, that's the best possible thing that the mom could have done. Mm-hmm. She knew he'd overreact.
Yep. Why would you marry that guy? If you know what he's like.
Oh, yeah. Asha arrives at the mommy blogger's house, where she knocks on the door to be greeted by the same woman who was stabbed by her son. Asha tries to ask her questions about her website and Grimcutty, to which the woman denies her and closes the door. Asha then sneaks around the house and finds multiple computers, tablets, phones, and gaming equipment destroyed in the garbage can.
Asha sneaks into the house from the back door, where she then goes upstairs to find a door with a child's name and many locks. As she unlocks the door and goes inside, she discovers another door with even more locks. Locks and doors. Okay, if you're going to have that many locks on all those doors, why didn't you lock your back door?
You know what? That is a good fucking question.
Anyway, as she opens it, a small boy falls from the room, begging Asha to put him back. Before she can do anything, the woman comes into the room with a shotgun, threatening her to give her Asha's phone.
In the middle of this situation, Asha's mom arrives at the house by Uber. When the blogger mom answers the door, Asha tries to tell her that something is wrong, that she has a gun and her son is locked up in the room upstairs. Amidst the tension, Asha's mom slaps her, apologizes to the woman, and takes her to the car.
Asha tries to tell her mom what is going on, causing her mom to freak out, spawning Grimcutty. Before he can attack, though, Asha's mom peeks in her rage, smashing the car window. This snaps her mom back to reality, where she decides to go back and talk to the blogger mom, telling her that her daughter isn't a liar, and pushes her way into the house. Asha's mom threatens to call the police when the blogger mom cracks and tells her that her son isn't affected by Grimcutty anymore and that she's handled it.
As her hysteria escalates, we see the little boy still outside of the small locked room where Grimcutty appears. The boy begins to scream and Asha's mom runs upstairs to find him dangling in midair. The blogger mom follows with the shotgun, threatening to shoot. As Asha walks into the house, blogger mom turns her gun towards Asha and Asha's mom pushes her, where she hits her head, causing Grimcutty to release the boy.
The mommy blogger gets back up, admitting that she spread the picture around, claiming it was her job to contain it. During this, her son stabs her in the leg where she falls down the stairs. The boy passes out, and Asha and her mom bring him to the hospital, where there are multiple kids there because of Grimcutty.
In the hospital room, Asha's father opens the laptop and finds the search history. When Kamran wakes up, his father asks him about his search history, which involves many things on the dark web, causing him to freak out again. Knowing how he worries, Asha's mom tries to give her husband a sedative, which throws him deeper into rage. He steals a syringe and goes after Kamran.
Kamran has run out of the room as he's being chased by Grimcutty and his father. Asha finds Kamran hiding in a janitor's closet, where she tells him to stay put. She grabs a pair of scissors and leaves. When exiting the room, Asha and her father have a standoff, where he tries to sedate her. She runs away, while both Grimcutty and her father chase after her. Asha manages to get Grimcutty alone in a boiler room downstairs, and stabs him multiple times. This method does not work, and Asha runs away and into her dad, where she stabs him instead, causing Grimcutty to vanish for a moment.
Spoiler warning. Please skip ahead. They all run outside, where Asha's father sees Asha floating in midair, and chooses to sedate himself, making Grimcutty disappear indefinitely. Being right next to a hospital, her father got help right away.
In the final scene, Asha is filming an ASMR Q&A video about the situation with her family and Grimcutty. She tells the audience to be honest with their family and learn from this experience.
The end. Alrighty.
Yeah. Oh boy.
This is definitely an interesting film.
Interesting is interesting way of putting it.
Exactly. This was released October 10th, 2022. So only just last year.
Yeah.
About this time, weirdly enough, around this time.
Not quite a year.
Yeah.
But we're hitting that mark.
Yep.
So, I looked high and low to see what the budget on this film was, and I found nothing.
Yeah, even in my research, some vagaries about references to costs, but nothing substantial.
It didn't make anything in the box office because it was not in theaters. It started streaming on Hulu and
Just was immediately there. Just immediately.
yeah, but it was also on Disney Plus.
Yeah, one of the backers was Disney Plus, which was shocking.
I'm like really
Weird.
confused. I mean, I don't think it's that scary.
It's not.
I think it's
but
more funny.
Also, just weird that even in some level of the horror genre, Disney backed something.
Mm-hmm. If you liked that breakdown and that little story run through, our dramatic reading, it only got 25% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's not the best movie ever made.
Yeah. I didn't even know about that. I didn't know that it had 25% on Rotten Tomato.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's one of those things where it's like you could just, if you just want like a silly film to just pop on that's spooky a little bit, it's a good one for that.
Yep. Director John Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And our main actors, we have Sarah Wolfkind as Asha
Chaudhry,
I think. I'm pretty sure that's how you
I'm
pronounce it.
assuming that's how you say the last name for the character.
Shannon Sossamon.
We're gonna have fun with these names. Oof.
Leah Chaudhry, which is the mom. I don't know why I didn't just put their names in. I said Asha's mom and Asha's father the whole time.
Yeah, exactly same.
But that's okay. We got Usman. I'm gonna say Usman.
I think it's Usman.
Usman Ali, Amir Chaudhry, Callan Ferris is Kamran, and then Joel Ezra Hebner as Grimcutty.
Yeah.
Grimcutty, yeah.
Good old Joel.
Yeah, good old Joel. What's up, Joel? Honestly, if Grimcutty walked into my house right now, I'd just be
Joel.
like, sup, Joel.
Sup, Joel.
Oh,
and then
my
when you
God.
get pissed at him, it's Hebner, I swear to God.
Yeah. Full last name him.
Full ass name him.
All right. So I did not think that there would be a lot of research to be done
On
about
this film.
Grimcutty.
Yeah.
I was sorely mistaken.
Oh, yeah. There's it's weird because it doesn't have a lot of traction, the film itself,
Right.
but the stuff that was used to influence it is
Crazy.
a lot
It's
more.
a lot. There's layers.
Oh,
to
yeah.
This.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So back in 2018, 2019 time. So first, Grimcutty is supposed to be satirical.
Yes, I did know
It's
about
not.
that, yeah.
I think he was trying to go for a little horror. However,
Yeah.
it's more. I find it funny.
It's more like a cautionary tale
Yeah. Yes.
than a horror film.
Mm-hmm. But if you just do a little Google search of little Grimcutty, he's so cute. If you know what I was saying, back in 2018, 2019, there was a challenge called the Momo Challenge. And if you know what I'm talking about,
Which, honestly, I did not know about. I've seen the mask or the art piece that was created. The art piece was actually created by ISO, a sculptor, and I guess it just birthed this challenge, which is terrifying because also the mask, it's the sculpture that he created itself is terrifying looking.
Right.
And there are masks of it everywhere.
So, basically this challenge, I didn't know about the challenge either.
Neither did
I
I,
had just seen the picture. I didn't really care about.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was a challenge. I just thought it was this.
Honestly, I watched a TikTok recently that had the mask in it, and then when I made the research, I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, if you didn't know what the challenge was, because I didn't, the challenge basically made people believe that kids were going online and communicating with Momo, and Momo would give them simple tasks to do at first, but it eventually led up to things like self-harm, hurting other people, or even, suicide and things like that. But it's all fake. None of it happened.
Yeah, exactly. It was 100% made up.
But if you...
And not by the artist. Big thing, the artist did not create this
No, the
challenge.
artist didn't do this. But, so if you don't know what Momo looks like, it's a woman with matted black hair, some big,
bulgy eyes,
very bulgy eyes, a wide mouth that goes from ear to ear. It's Yeah.
Don't do it at night,
No.
because that will stick in your head.
It's like a bird type.
Yes, very
thing.
beak-esque.
So there's that. But so the sculpture was created in 2016 to represent Ubume, which stands for child snatching bird.
Yep.
However, that's not what it is. Ubume is the spirit of a woman who has died either before, during, or after childbirth.
Oh, okay.
So they usually appear on like dark and rainy nights, you know,
Yeah.
because creepy.
Because classic.
Yeah. They can appear multiple different ways. So there's a pregnant woman, a woman carrying a baby, or it's a blood-soaked walking corpse carrying an undeveloped fetus.
Ooh.
Or
Ew.
underdeveloped. Yeah.
Ooh.
So just crying out for help at night, you know. So basically,
Oddly enough, very La Llorona. Very,
yes,
very
La
much that.
Llorona.
Yeah.
I did some research, and there's so many different things that were said about Ubume. So
Variations and versions.
very many. One of them was if the mother had died after childbirth, but the baby survived, the mother's spirit would go around and try to help her baby in whatever way.
So it would be more of a helpful spirit.
Yes, so she
in that regard.
would try to, you know, she would stick around for her kid, like just making sure that kid
more of like a guardian situation.
a guardian situation. She'll try to just it said that they would try to lead people to the place where their baby was like born so that it can, you know, live a life, and that those people could either adopt it or find their relatives and give that baby back to other people. But there's another instance that's terrifying.
All right.
And I never want to come across this. So that's if the mom died and the baby lived. If the mom died and the baby died, Ubume are seen like carrying. This is the one where they're seen carrying their kids.
Yeah.
If that comes up to you and she would like try to hand you the infant and you took it, Ubume would vanish, and the thing that you're carrying and holding turns into rocks or like something, gets heavier and more weight, and then you're crushed by
my god,
you're crushed under its weight. Really fun stuff.
Wow.
Terrifying. Just rocks crushing
okay
you.
So no taking babies from strangers.
Don't take babies from strangers.
I don't know why the fuck you would take a baby from a stranger, but you know there are some people who are like that.
There are, like, if you're handed a child, like, oh my god, look, my baby. Some people are like, oh yeah, your baby. No. We're not doing that anymore.
You get crushed.
We're not doing that anymore because Ubume could come after you and you could get crushed for showing affection.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be on you.
Honestly, and also that's very in line with a lot of the culture over in Japan. Physical affection and or affection of any kind is very not taboo, but just not in public kind of situation.
Basically, this story has been around since the 11th century, and it was put in a book called the Konjaku Monogatari. But that stands for The Tales of Times Now and Past, which is a collection of over 1,000 either religious stories or folk tales from not just Japan, but also India and China. So like a lot of Asia. All of Asia. So yeah, really creepy.
Oh yeah.
So, but I can't picture, like, because it's the Ubume, and then there's Grimcutty. And I don't know how we got from point A to point B.
Okay, so also one of the other things is that they were inspired by Slender Man.
Yes.
Which is the height. That's the tight and the wearing black and all that kind of stuff. The Ubume, honestly, the face of it is very close to Grimcutty because he's got the long smile, the large eyes, the black matted hair. Yeah. It's definitely it's a mixture of Slender Man and the Ubume creature or the Momo character.
Yes.
Kind of touching on the Momo character, just as kind of a statement. It's not a good challenge. it was prevalent for, I guess, for quite a long time.
Yeah. I'd say about a year, I think.
It's not as much of a thing anymore. I mean, people still have the masks and stuff. Like I said, I saw a TikTok recently
Right.
of someone who had the mask, but not using it using it more as like a mask to scare their husband while they were on the couch.
Right.
But the artist themselves saw the controversy and everything and actually announced the creature's death
Oh?
to reassure children.
Okay.
And
well, that's
commented,
nice.
literally commented, "It doesn't exist anymore. It was never meant to last. It was rotten and I threw it away. The children can be reassured that Momo is dead. She doesn't exist and the curse is gone."
Wow.
He literally had to come out and be like, "It's gone. Kids, I killed it. It's over.
That's crazy.
There's no more curse. There's no more nothing. It's gone."
I mean, the fact that it got to the level to where the artists themselves had to like put out a statement.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, it's even the comment. It's the idea that it cements the idea that challenges like these are only as real as we make them.
True.
These kinds of stuff, honestly, it's kind of shocking that challenges like these kinds come out and like begin to exist because of how dark they get.
Right.
I mean, shit, even my reference to Slender Man, there's the whole, like, he was an urban legend who got like a video game and he's had movies, and then it led to girls stabbing their best friend in the woods.
Which is absolutely
fucking terrifying. It's
horrific.
Harrowing. There's a documentary of that occurrence that happened, and it's harrowing.
Yeah, they stabbed her 19 times.
Yeah.
And she lived?
She lived.
Which
she
is
survived.
crazy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. But basically, she crawled out of the woods and like, she was like, she got help from a person who was biking in the area.
Look, the
Which
perseverance
I'm gonna
of life.
be so honest. If I saw a girl crawling at me, bloody, I would bike faster.
Oof.
No,
Oof.
no, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I mean, it's very different.
No, it
I
is.
think.
I'm sure,
It's
like,
definitely
in the
one of those things,
moment,
'cause she's like
screaming
for
help.
help.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I'd stop and I'd help. But, like,
you know, there's that 5 seconds of like,
Like,
am I gonna die?
yeah, am I gonna die? Is this going to kill me? No, but I'm glad she lived.
Oh yeah.
However, the girls that, or at least the main girl, Morgan, who stabbed her, or helped stab her, she didn't go to jail. She got 40 years in a mental hospital.
Yep. It's because of how young they were.
It's true, but it's like,
If you have the mental fortitude or willpower to believe an urban legend and think that if you do something like this and you'll get to, it was like they wanted to go to his castle or his whatever,
which is
his realm, and I'm like, dude,
what world were you living in?
What life existence did you have that would make you believe that this was real?
Right.
Like, I am deep in the fantasy. I love fantasy. I love mythology. I love all of that kind of like cryptid.
I wish all of it was real.
And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But then it's also that level of like, I wish it was all real, but wishing it was all real means you wish it was all real,
Which,
even the bad
good with
shit.
the bad, yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, I love, you know, magic and all those kinds of fun things, but it doesn't mean that it's legit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna suddenly be like, oh, I was, you know, practicing a spell and now I can fly. No.
Right.
No. I'm sorry. But
That's
no,
what
but
video
no.
games are for.
Exactly. And there's been enough studies. Look, I don't care who you are. Video games do not make people do anything. And even that Slender Man video game would not convince you to suddenly go find him. Video games don't do anything. It actually is better for you to play video games.
Right. Because it's an outlet.
Exactly. And it's and the people who take video games and do stuff like what they did and like actually try to commit things, those people have problems that need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Those are not your average person.
Which is why, challenges like Momo are dangerous. Like, somebody potentially could have gotten hurt if there was somebody online, like, telling kids to do something. Especially if there was, like, a prize or something involved.
Yes.
People would do it. Kids would do it. They're so easily influenced. Like, clearly, because of this whole Slenderman, like, situation.
Yeah.
Nobody told them to do that.
Yeah.
And they did it anyway. So, it just, I guess, it is a good cautionary tale, Grimcutty. Yeah. So, it just opens kids' and parents' minds up to, one, don't be so hard on your kids.
Yes.
Because that's how you raise sneaky kids. That's how you raise
100%. That's
liars.
How you get kids to go behind your parents' back.
Yeah. You just be honest with them. Be open. And don't be so hard on them. But also at the same time, online challenges are stupid. Yes. That's also the other part of that.
Yes. I mean, even the simplest of challenges, like the fucking cinnamon challenge that swept the world. It's, dangerous.
Yep.
But it's one of those things where it's like, it's not 100% harmful. It's not on the level of like the Momo challenge and all that kind of stuff. But there are definitely challenges that are not worth it. Don't do it. It's just, if you see other people do it, that's a them choice.
I think the big one that I remember was the Kylie Jenner lip challenge.
Oh my God.
Where people were literally busting their lips open on glass.
Their lips.
Trying to, do the suction
and like
cup
destroying the blood vessels in their lips. Oh my God. I'm like, that's damage you're doing to your body.
Which, crazy.
You're making mistakes.
Big ones.
But it's also the other big message of the film was, parents, you will never, ever fully understand your children. Especially when it comes to technology. Technology is so fast moving and growing. There's no way you're gonna know all the time what they're doing, how things are going. You just have to know that if you believe you raised your kid well enough, then you know they're not going to do stupid stuff. And if they do, it's a learning moment.
Right.
If you don't trust your kid, it means you don't think that you parented them well enough.
Ooh,
that's how I see it.
That's the cold hard truth.
Because it is. Because if you can't trust your kid, it means that you couldn't trust your own parenting skills.
Yep. Yeah. And there's a lot of parents who don't trust the way that they've raised their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because that's a personal thing.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And it's like, just open your eyes. Look at your kid. Are they
Does
good?
It look like they're doing bad things?
Does it look like they're doing terrible things?
Did they mess up a couple times? Sure.
That's human nature.
Hello, we are human, we error.
Yeah.
End of story. Like, we're not robots, we're not perfect.
Right. So it's the message of like, the more you worry about your kids, the more, you put your claws into them.
Yes.
The more you're hurting them.
Yes, that's 100%.
Even if you can't see it and other people can't see it.
Yep.
Sometimes you're doing harm there, even if you don't notice it. And you're only wanting to do what's best for your kids. Sometimes you're not.
You know what? 100%. And a lot of the time it's definitely that,
Yeah.
It's the idea that the worry sometimes, like, your parents are always going to worry about you.
Yeah, of course.
But sometimes they can take it too far. Because also this, I feel like, in a lot of it, sometimes parents worry that their kids are going to be like them.
Ooh.
But the problem is if you raised your kid not to be that way, you should trust them.
Fair.
Because your kids have to trust you too. They have to trust you that you're not going to come after them.
Because trust goes both ways.
Exactly. And if
you
your
don't
kid
trust
can
me,
trust
how can
you,
I trust you?
Yeah, exactly. If your kid can trust you, then you can trust your kid. Even if they do dumb shit sometimes.
Right. But that's everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody gets into some shit.
Including parents.
Including parents. Even when they are parents.
Exactly.
Especially when they are parents.
Because I feel like sometimes parents forget that they did dumb shit when they were young. And then when they get older and they become parents, it's sometimes, I think they forget or act like they didn't do bad shit when they were younger. And I feel like sometimes that's like, no, you need to remember you did similar stupid stuff.
Right.
And remember that's just like part of being a growing kid.
Yeah.
Or becoming an adult. You make mistakes, you learn your lessons.
And you move on.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's my our 2 cents on the theme of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's
Hardcore, big
definitely so much more. I mean, in the film itself, they didn't use a lot of CGI.
Yeah, I figured that.
They used some to, like, obviously to clean it up, to hide the actor.
And also, like, floating midair type.
Exactly. But it definitely was... They intentionally chose not to use CGI for the creature because of the fact that the creature interacts with the people. And so the biggest thing that I remember being expressed is it was literally for the VFX. They basically had to... The minor VFX that they did was they had to scrub out the puppeteer for the creature, because what it was basically the Grimcutty's torso on the top of someone's, like, a guy's green leotard.
Joel.
And it was like the creature actor, his arms were the Grimcutty. He was basically controlling the Grimcutty arms.
Right.
But then below Grimcutty's waist was just like a green outfit. So they obviously did some level. And they also did some on the face as well. And like different parts of the body. They blended it.
He does have some movement
exactly
in his face sometimes.
And that was intentional because they wanted him to be able to have... They didn't want you to tell what was CGI and what was...
And I couldn't. That was pretty good.
Their physical effects. Which was actually pretty good, but they also wanted that uncanny valley nature to it, which I feel like they did pretty well.
Yeah.
Even for 25%.
25%.
They did pretty good.
Yeah, not the worst movie.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst movie.
There was nothing that really stood out to me as like, oh, that's bad, except for like the ASMR.
Oh, yeah.
That was in here. Like, that was hard to listen to.
That was more of the cringy.
Yeah.
But that
had nothing to do with
some layers of just ASMR sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I have been following a couple people. I follow someone who does ASMR.
I thought you didn't like ASMR.
She's the only person I've been able to follow. But it's not like weird mouth stuff, because I fucking hate that so much of ASMR is just weird mouth stuff. She does stuff with like slime, and she does like foam.
Yeah, have you seen like the shaving
like
cream trick with like the brush and they like put it over the mic?
That's what she does. That's my favorite one.
Yeah,
because it's instead of being sounds of like mouth stuff, she does like she has objects she uses to put sounds in the area.
That still bothers me. Like, I'll be scrolling through TikTok and like I'll get those live videos at night of like so many people doing ASMR to put you to sleep, and I'm like, can you please not? No matter how many times I'm like, do not recommend this to me anymore, they just keep doing it. Yeah. Right. You did.
You did.
I didn't hear that. I was probably asleep at that point.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those situations where it's like, but I don't... It's when people are just straight up just talking. And even the ASMR that was in the movie was 100% built to be cringy.
Yeah, because I think you could definitely see that there was a glow up from the beginning to the end. Like, it was definitely very...
interesting.
Yeah, like you could tell that when the camera quality wasn't that good, or background, like there was a voiceover.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't really great editing, but then at the end, she's got backdrop. She's got ring lights. She's got that whole setup.
She's decked out. She's got her stuff. Oh yeah,
good character development.
Yeah.
That's because her parents finally were able to accept
her, what she was doing and what she wanted to do. Yeah.
Instead of just supporting Kamran and his band.
Exactly. And I mean, even throughout the whole film, Kamran, at the
golden child.
He was definitely I'm gonna fake being the golden kid so that I can do my other shit without them knowing. That was definitely the big thing.
Oh yeah.
And that's the big reason why the dad freaks out at him later.
Yeah.
Because he finds out, oh, this kid I thought that was perfect is really just like everybody else.
Yeah. Maybe Asha is the better one.
Yeah, exactly.
And you didn't know that whole time.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly. So kind of getting into an interesting inspiration for this film, especially when it comes to the cinematography and how they filmed it. Wes Craven was one of the inspirations. He did Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm.
And I guess he was a big inspiration for how they filmed the
You said
movie.
Wes
Craven. He's a master of horror.
I thought you were talking about like a thing.
No,
I
Wes
did not know
Craven's
that
a
he was
human
person-
being.
Okay. Nobody come for me for not knowing who that is. I'm still young. Okay.
They said, I think Wes Craven is kind of underrated in terms of his directing style. I feel like people take it for granted, but the way he films things chasing you is really terrifying. He does this thing where he frames things up in a very clear way. So in my cavalcade of films that I've watched, one of them is a Wes Craven film, which was a Nightmare on Elm Street, his recreation of it. And that's actually one of the ones that I'm going to have you watch because it's actually pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, it definitely reflects in the film Grimcutty because of the way that he had the creature chasing after. It's a very deliberate style.
The way he comes after you is so funny.
I will agree, the creature himself does not help lend to scary, and it just kind of looks a little dumpy.
However, that
because of his body build.
Yeah, his body build. I will give it to like the first scene that we see him in when he like pops up in the yard outside.
Yes.
That was creepy.
Yes.
That was creepy.
Yes.
That was the only time I was creeped out.
Yeah.
But, you know, there are other messages and things within the film, so.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, even Rolling Stones had an article that was out.
Yes, I did. Look at that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a lot, obviously, to do with the online challenges fueling the paranoia of parents.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's the idea of parents wanting to take control of their children's lives and becoming overprotective. But there's a fascinating concept because it has to do with, so the parents who start to become paranoid about their children and wanting to control their lives, them becoming paranoid triggers an autoimmune reaction and causes even more carelessness among kids. And that in return creates an online hunting ground for predators who bring the likes of Momo to life, like the creatures and stuff. So there's actually like a little bit of science behind the idea that the parents become overprotective, the kids respond in a certain way, and their bodies respond to it. And unfortunately, that leads to carelessness. It's almost like, you know, when it's the idea that your parents are like, you can't go out and go do these things with your friends and whatever, and then you choose to say, well, screw it, I'm going to sneak out in the middle of the night.
Ooh.
You know, but you do it in the dumbest way possible instead of the easiest way possible because that's the response.
Right.
I think it's talking a little bit of that in regards to the film itself. It was a pretty good film. It wasn't bad, but I would not put it on a top 10 list.
Definitely not. You got any other notes?
Honestly, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, there's not really
A
much
whole lot, yeah.
more to say about it. I mean, yeah, it was a movie.
I mean, the most interesting part about the creature of Grimcutty, which honestly would be interesting to see it in a higher budget film, is the idea of that the more restrictive the parents become, the more dangerous Grimcutty becomes. So the idea that the more the parents become restrictive, paranoid, panicked, the more dangerous the creature becomes is fascinating. And the idea that injuring the parent who is causing the paranoia makes the creature disappear.
Yeah. Which
would be a fascinating concept to see in
that
an
makes
alternative
kids
film.
kill their parents, and it's like, what?
And it kind of explains why, because I feel like there was a level of that missing in the film. Like, you kind of just got it a little bit later in the film that's what was happening, that like when the parent got injured, the Grimcutty would vanish. But I feel like it would be so much more fascinating if you got to see it throughout the whole film in more of an active setting. You know what I mean? I feel like this would be a cool concept in a different film.
Yeah.
And also would be a cool concept in a video game.
True.
Be a very
true.
cool concept in a video game.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be as simple as like a minor, like they hit themselves on accident or they stub their toe, and you just, you know, it's that level of like an accidental injury makes you figure it out.
And we never actually hear of anyone that died because of Grimcutty, right? Or did Cassidy die?
Nope, everybody survived.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, everybody survived. Nobody died.
Like, it wasn't
the most
lethal.
dramatic thing that happened was that the boy stabbed his mom.
Right, but that was before Grimcutty could get him. So, nobody actually got to a point where Grimcutty was hurting them enough that.
Yeah, I think that boy's the one who went through the most of it. I think when we start the film at that part, he's been dealing with it for a lot longer.
That's true.
Because she's already got locks on the doors. He's having to climb out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, for at least that beginning part, he's dealing with it. He's been dealing with it for a lot longer than what we're seeing. Yeah. We're seeing the end of it because by that time, he knows to attack his mom.
So does he
stop Grimcutty
ever actually get you enough to where you could die? Like,
I feel like it's a possibility, but they don't. Like I said, and like we've said, this film is not scary and doesn't really have any consequences.
It's true.
There's no consequences in this film. Nobody dies because of the extreme nature of their parents' paranoia.
Right.
If we had people dying, I feel like the stakes in this film
would be so much higher.
I feel like there's a level of intensity that's missing from this film.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why it ended up on Disney Plus and like streaming platforms like that, because it's not really. Yeah.
I would definitely B to C tier this film.
Yeah, I'm gonna say C.
C, yeah, because I feel like even B films tend to have consequences. Yeah, there's still consequences, and I feel like this film. The reason why it's not good enough in the eyes of a lot of people, which is why I got a 25, is because there's no consequence to what's going on. There's no parent that got so intense. Like, even the boy being locked up in the room, he's still alive.
Yeah, like he never died from anything. He was still fine.
So,
like, and even at the end, his mom was still alive. Like, you see her getting rolled out of the house, going to the hospital.
Exactly. And it's definitely one of those things where it's like, if there were more consequences, more danger, and more, like, serious injury moments that were seen, like, we don't even see when Kamran gets attacked.
Right. You just see him on the floor.
They get home, and then he's there.
Yeah. So, like, he didn't even die at all. Like, no. There was no serious injury there, so...
There was no consequences to anything.
None at all.
And I feel like that's the whole point of a lot of horror films, is there's some level of a consequence. Honestly, I think we're pretty good on this one.
I thought we could end out this episode with some...
Yeah,
with some reviews.
Ooh,
with some reviews that people have given.
Hit me with it. I want to see what these people were saying.
One said, "Painful to watch.
Ooh.
Weak and out of touch horror offering."
Oof,
brutal.
That's brutal.
Another person said, "The characters are unlikable and do things no person would ever do." Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
This next one gets me. ASMR is not as popular as the filmmakers think. Another one. I don't believe many things can be a 1 or a 10, but Grimcutty is undoubtedly a 1.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I wouldn't say that. Like, that's really brutal.
I put it at like a 3 or a 4.
I'd say 4. I'd say 3
put it in there.
I'd say same. Yeah,
that range.
It's not amazing, but
and I've definitely had some 10s. So I don't know what the fuck this person's talking about.
This is not a 1 film.
This is not a 1 film.
There are
1
films, and this is not one of them.
This is not one of them. This is not one of them.
Another comment. Acting, terrible. Cast, terrible. Which basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Script, terrible. The acting and the cast are pretty much the same thing. So
but here's the other thing. I feel like the acting and the cast, the actors need to have, if it was a different story.
I think the actors did as well as they
could with what they had.
With what they had.
Agreed.
I really do.
Yeah.
Like
they worked with what they got.
Yeah, they worked with what they had.
Yeah.
And that's all you can ask of them. Like, they got a check for it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Slay.
Hell yeah.
And my final...
Yes.
My final review.
Yes.
Gru from Despicable Me.
Oh, shit.
Which, every time you were describing Grimcutty, all I wanted to be like was, and Gru. Gru is also a big... Oh my god.
Grimcutty literally has the body of Gru.
I want somebody to swap their faces. I want somebody to take an edit.
It's
put
Gru
Gru's
if
face
Gru
on
had
Grimcutty.
hair.
Yeah, it's Gru if Gru had hair.
If he just had like luscious long locks.
Yeah, and like we're really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Facts.
Gru with hair and really high.
Yes.
So, I agree with that one. That one I agree with.
I would agree with that one too.
He's funny. He's funny looking. He's a funny looking guy. So.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by those reviews.
No.
Man.
I was scrolling and all I could see was 1-star ratings. I was like, I'd give it a 2.
Give it like a 2. Or 2.5.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
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 It's definitely not a 3-star film.
I want to see some of these actors in like higher budgeted films because I don't think they would do bad.
I would agree.
I think they would be okay.
Because I feel like even in the end, towards the end of the film, it's not that you felt emotional, but it felt like the actors made you feel like, at least there at that very end part with the dad and Asha moment,
right,
that there was some level of like moral decision happening.
It made me feel good that the family got closer.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I hated seeing Asha get ripped to shreds by her parents, thinking that Kamran was the golden boy.
Yes.
And then at the end, they were all one happy family. And that was enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. But it's definitely, it's that, what is it, like, shit, I can't even compare it to that show. I was about to say it's like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is actually scarier. But it's like, like it's that tale. Yeah. Like, you better be good, or you better have open communication between you and your kids, because otherwise the Grimcutty's gonna come and fuck your kid up.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like that's the big thing. It's just open communication between the child and the parent. And there being trust both ways.
Correct. That's the moral of the entire story.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're pretty good. Our next film is going to be Smile.
Smile!
The newer one. And then, if you would like, leave us a review. Send us an email. Let us know if you've seen this film or seen similar films like this.
Please send me the edit of Gru.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Please.
That'd be so much fun. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Horror Unmasked. Listen to us on Spotify and iTunes at Horror Unmasked, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Horror Unmasked.
Woot woot.
And with that,
now there's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
Or will you fear not?